All right, everybody, how's it going? Trey Arns here, back again. It's been a minute since I've made a video, but I always need some sort of new content or new thought to base these videos off of. I just don't want to make a bunch of random videos, but I'm fletching up some arrows here, and I've been thinking about something lately that's been kind of, it's a problem that I've been running into, and I think it's a problem that a lot of other people are running into. If you guys don't know me by now, my name's Trey Arns. I'm a big traditional archer. I shoot a lot of tournaments, a lot of stuff like that. I also hunt with a recurve. So, and just going through the years of experience that I have, I'm not gonna say I'm a coach. I'm not anything like that. I don't have good form. I've just learned to be consistent, and that's consistent with what I have. And I've been shooting at a lot of these 3D shoots here. Last weekend I actually had the Wisconsin State archery shoot. I ended up winning that for the second year in a row, which was really cool. But the coolest thing about these shoots is that I get to meet and I get to talk to a lot of people. One thing that I've been noticing, and it's not only at this state shoot, is the overthinking that comes with traditional archery. Now, I'm an overthinker by nature. That's just how I am. I overthink everything. And especially when it comes to traditional archery, it makes it way worse for me. So I'm making this video to hopefully help someone else out that might be going through the same thing that I went through, and what I am running into a lot of people running through, or running into, I should say. So the overthinking and the overinformation of traditional archery and what it is today. Now, I'm not discrediting anyone who has put out information, because the amount of information out for traditional archery right now is honestly amazing. It's something I wish I had 20 years ago when I first started shooting, 10 years ago even. So this is more based off of someone who has already become somewhat successful or a decent archer. And this isn't gonna be a video for the beginning level, because the beginning level is all about how to shoot the bow, how to draw the bow, everything like that. Now, with all these videos, we will learn, and all the content that's been put out, we will learn little things. So I go into a video or some sort of podcast or something, and I just try to retain like 1% of it and make my shot 1% better. I don't try to change too many things. So this is where we're gonna start. The overthought process of traditional archery and the want to be super precise. It's super hard to be really, really, really precise with a traditional bow. It's just how it is. But a lot of people like me jump into traditional archery and try to become the absolute best and the most accurate that we can. It isn't easy. It's not an easy feat. I'm not saying it's easy to shoot that way with a compound. There is still some factors, but dialing in a sight and having all those things is a lot easier than shooting either instinctively, gapping, point on, whatever that is. It's just the truth. It's just an easier way. Crossbow, 10 times easier. It's just the honest truth. So what I run into a lot of time is I retain too much knowledge at one time, and I try to flip it and turn it into something that I think is gonna help me. And normally what it leads to is a ton of overthinking and a ton of frustration. So I'm gonna give you 2 tips that's gonna hopefully make your experience with traditional archery easier. First one is gonna be to take a break. If you ever hit a point where you're frustrated, I just went through this. After shooting at a big shoot in Indiana, I felt like everything was falling apart. I was overthinking everything. If I would have just kept doing the same thing, I would have been fine. But I went into a process of overthinking. I was watching other people, I was taking in mental notes, and I was trying to change my game mid-season. It's not a good thing to do mid-season. So what I ended up doing, and then this is the worst part. So I competed barebow this year. You can't shoot barebow for the Wisconsin State tournament. So I got a new riser, I had to get a whole new setup, put my limbs on it. Everything was brand new. I ended up messing up a whole bunch of 500 spine arrows because I couldn't get them stiff enough. So I cut down half of my arrows, and this was just a giant pile of frustration leading into 2 weeks away or 3 weeks away from the Wisconsin State tournament. Not only did I have to change my anchor back, shoot instinctive, and give up the string walking. So that was really hard. So I literally took 2 weeks off. I walked away from the bow. I would say it's about a week. I can't say 2 weeks. I walked away from the bow. I set it down. I put it in my basement. I didn't want anything to do with it. I needed to clear my mind. So with that and that process, I allowed myself to clear my mind and come in the following week with a blank slate and take it up how I used to do it instead of overthinking stuff. So that's one of my tips is the just take a break, put it down. I am the most obsessive shooter. I think anyone who does this probably is the same way. I just enjoy shooting so much that I will shoot to the point where I hit really bad spots and I'll dig them deeper rather than getting out of them and helping myself. So put the bow down, walk away from it for a little bit. Maybe this is your time to dial in on podcasts, stuff like that. Fill up your brain. If you're listening to things, this is tip number 2. I'm only going to give you 2 tips today because the video is already 5 minutes. Change one thing at a time. What does that mean? That means if you are trying to change something in your shot and your shot is already good, but you're trying to make it better, change one thing at a time. So like the basic things you need to know. You need to know what a pluck will do. You need to know like a bad form at your face. You need to know what hand torque is. Obviously, this is all leading up to having a bow that is tuned properly and an arrow that's tuned properly. So you need to be able to identify those things, but fix one of them at a time. So even your stance, your posture, your alignment, these things that you need to learn, fix one of them at a time and fix it until you feel like you have mastered it. Do not move on to the next one until that. I've listened to podcasts, I have done the rotational draw, I've done the linear draw, I've done all of that, and I've literally come up with like a hybrid that works for me. I align to everything. If you're at a point where you're just wanting to get a little bit better and better and better, you're gonna get to that same point. You're gonna get to the thing where you're just trying to make yourself a little better. If I change too many things at one time, bam, I go from being a 9 to 10 average target shooter down to an 8 to a 7. All because I changed too many things at one time, too much shit going through my brain, and it just makes it a mess. So, and these are things that I learned, like the week leading up to state. One day I would practice because I went from string walking into instinctive shooting again, and I was shooting a fast arrow. So I had to take a step back, and I spent days just figuring out yardage and figuring out, I wasn't gapping, just figuring out my arrow trajectory. The next day I would figure out precision, so I would just shoot at a dot, just like this, bang, 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 same distance the whole time, just figuring out form, just figuring out everything like that. The next day, I'm just working on these things, and these are days and days leading up to these tournaments, but these are things you have to do if you want to make yourself better and you don't want to mess with everything up here. The brain screws up everything. Everyone that I've talked to in the past 2 or 3 months that's had a problem, I feel like that's where a lot of this target panic is coming from. It's just the overthinking of the shot. If you have a good shot process and a good shot cycle, just do that and improve 1% every single time you try to make an improvement. Don't try to improve 20%, 10%, especially if you're going into hunting season or a big tournament. Make a 1% better. I don't even know how to say that. Just try to be 1% better. That's all you got to do. Don't overthink everything. If you have questions, drop them in this video. Honestly, hit me up on Instagram. I'm more active on Instagram than anything. Throw me questions. I've been through this, guys. I am the biggest overthinker when it comes to everything in my life. So traditional archery is just that much worse for me because I am an overthinker. But it also leads me into really good things and to really bad things. So if you like the video, definitely give it a like. Do that, it helps my page out. Subscribe to the channel. And like I said, ask all questions away. If you're dealing with this type of thing, if you're dealing with target panic and you think it's just you overthinking everything, take a step back. Take a step back, put the bow down. If you're not enjoying it anymore, put the bow down for a week. Let's start over. And then focus on one thing at a time. Sorry, this is a long talking video, but I just figured that a lot of people, I deal with it all the time, so I figured it might help out someone else. Thank you for watching, guys. Like I said, any questions, drop them here.